If you just look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am a billionaire tomorrow, and you don't believe that's possible, it's not going to help you. But if you look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am a billionaire in 10 years, and that is your goal, I guarantee you're going to do what it takes to reach that. If you truly, truly believe it, because it's the law of attraction. Whatever we truly believe and manifest and know we can make happen if we put our mind to it, the more we believe it, the closer it comes to us. And then we take the action steps to get there. But if you're just going to say something and not believe it, that's where an affirmation isn't going to help you.
Caryn Bird, welcome to the podcast. What's the journey that you've been on that's brought you to where you are today?
That is a loaded question, because what I know as a hypnotherapist is we all have journeys, right? Crazy journeys. The journey I've been on, well, I was raised in a middle-class family and life was great. I grew up in a bubble, got married shortly after college and had a 28-year marriage, raised 3 boys. And just before I turned 50, not only were we going through a divorce, and then at the same time, 10 days after that decision was made, our oldest son passed away in a motorcycle accident. And
Wow.
it's been a journey since then, let's just say. Before that, I was trained in hypnosis and became a hypnotherapist about 15 years before that, and had some foster girls. So the reason that we decided to have foster girls is it was a calling from God. I never wanted to have foster children. And yet I just had this calling, this heaviness in my heart that God said, it's time for you to do this with your life. Now, I've written a memoir since, and in the memoir, I say, I remember sitting in church saying and praying, God, you're the potter, I'm the clay. Tell me what you want me to do with my life now. And then I had this calling for foster girls, and that was a journey in itself. The foster system is, let's just say, it's very difficult here in the United States. I don't know about there, but I remember saying, I will never say that again.
Right.
And then a few years later, divorce, and son died. So since then, it's been a journey, and I would say I don't regret one moment of my life, and everything happens for a reason. So yeah, life is good. Life is good. That's my journey.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm so sorry to hear about your boy.
Thank you.
Whereabouts in the timeline is that in relation to today?
5 years ago.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Would you mind telling me what that journey's been like?
Since then,
Hmm.
yes, I am happy to. I am happy to share it. And that is what the memoir that I wrote, it's still in its final stages, so it's not out yet. And it is about those 2 years after he passed away. Because again, I had just filed for divorce. We had filed for divorce 10 days prior to that. We had told the boys, and then the motorcycle accident. And it was a tough, tough space. Yet I recall the day after he passed away, he visited me in my sleep and said, Mom, when can I come home? And I said, you are home, honey. And what I realize now is that sometimes it takes spirits time to acclimate into the next part of their journey. And so after that, about a few days after that, I was sitting on the deck overlooking the lake, and I had the most divine peace that I could not understand, because here I was going through all of this in my life, and I just felt this peace that was not earthly, and I knew it was from God. And it just felt like God said, you're going to be okay, and I'm here with you. I've always been a Christian and a strong Christian foundation. And since then, I have opened up in unimaginable ways spiritually. So I have different beliefs. I'm still a Christian. I still will say Jesus was on my right hand side and still is, and carried me through my entire journey. And I believe in another level of spirituality where I can now communicate with my son and I can help others communicate across the veil. And shortly then after I had that divine peace, Josh visited me again. His name is Josh. And at night and said, with God on your side and me by your side, you're going to be okay, mom. And ever since then, I opened up. I learned so much about spirituality and across the veil on the other side, and it really helped me through my journey. So I feel incredibly blessed that not only because of my hypnosis skills and background and my mindset that I knew from hypnosis and the positive mindset and the power of the mind, not only that, but I also had friends and colleagues from all around the world helping me connect with him, doing soul integrations, channeling sessions. And it helped me to know that he might be gone physically, but he's not gone. And I still can have a relationship with him.
Wow. So these visits, would you be able to tell me like what is like? Is it visual? Is it a sense? Like
Yeah.
what's going on there?
There are many different ways. So we call it the clairvoyance, which is you see them, and sometimes I can see him. And one time he told me, meet me in the wrestling room. We have a wrestling garage because, as you know, I'm a performance mindset expert also. And I know you wanted to talk about that. And I work with athletes for hypnosis and peak performance. And so my boys were really great wrestlers. Their father was a wrestling coach and a college wrestler, collegiate wrestler. And so we have a garage that was dedicated just for wrestling. And I saw him as he told me, Mom, meet me in the wrestling room. I want to talk to you. And I could see him bouncing off the walls in there, which I know sounds really crazy. And some people would think this was crazy, but it's that trusting of I saw the picture in my mind and I heard him say it. So sometimes it's hearing, sometimes it's saying, sometimes I can smell certain things that remind me of him, but yet there's nothing going on around me that would create that smell. And so that's that little reminder, hey, I'm still here. I know he has signs, an eagle. He went to a college called Shadron and the mascot was an eagle. And so we lived on a lake and I had never seen eagles in the 14 years we had lived there. And after he passed away in May that summer, eagles started visiting the lake, flying over my house, flying over the top of me with a fish in its hand. And so eagles are his sign, and I still see eagles to this day. So there's signs that he sends. Like I said, smell, hear. Sometimes I just know. It's just a knowing that,
Mm.
and it's being able to have this conversation with him, being on the same level as him though. Like I don't hear him all the time. I have to be in the right space for it. And then I can hear him talking, but it's like this knowing, it's not hearing the voice, but it's knowing he's talking to me and then being able to have a conversation and he answers back. So it's kind of fun.
Wow. Do you know it's something just somewhat top of mind for me at the moment. Have you familiar with psychedelics?
Yes,
Okay. Would you mind? Have you ever have you been on a journey before?
possibly.
Possibly. Okay. So I'd done a few journeys,
Okay.
um, and the last couple of times, I felt this like this communicating with the other side thing, um, really very profound and quite life changing. The last time that happened, I've never had like a visual. It's more been the sense, the feeling, like. being with their souls. And I'd imagine to anyone listening, they're like, yeah, but that's just hippy dippy. And until you experience it, it's really hard to describe. Anyhow, after this last experience, the following day, I thought felt like I was in contact with a particular grandparent. I'm at the age now where I've lost, in the last 10 to 15 years, three grandparents in different times. So thankfully, I've still got one left. And there was this one, to my nana on my dad's side. I felt like she was with me. So the following day, I went and visited the grave. And the first thing I noticed was like, I pulled up in the car park and there's just this huge circle, like where the car was. And it could have been like, we call them joy boys, like kids playing with the cars, like this. But it was really strange how there's just this circle. And it was like, okay, like this is where I'm meant to be. And then I went and I sat down and I really tried to not like intentionally not hallucinate, right? So just kind of, because I'm familiar with meditation, just kind of sit and just be present and not like force anything to come in. And I did feel like she was speaking to me, and then I said, just give me a sign. And then all of a sudden I just heard like in like this something getting louder and louder and louder, and all these crows just like descended, like came over me, like hundreds and hundreds, making an absolute racket. And I don't know, and I'm like, maybe that happens a lot, like where that is, but it was real, and the goosebumps are standing up on my neck now. Think about it, because it was really, I don't know. And before, like, I've never been overly religious or spiritual, and in the last few years, like I say, I feel like access via psychedelic means or has been a gateway to sort of opening my mind up in that regard. And so, and I'm not going to say, well, kind of like an A/B test, but then I went and visited another grandparent's grave afterwards, because I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm favoriting. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to forget about the other one.
Oh.
So go visit her. Nothing comes up. And it was just funny how, do you know what I mean? Like a side by side test. And I thought that it was that one particular grandparent that's contacted me. And yet that seemed to, like, in that experience, be confirmed in that I didn't really get anything when I went to the other gravestone. And yeah, so I suppose my question to you would be, I have a question around faith, actually. I wrote this on, I keep writing faith down. I'm like,
Wow.
because I don't know what my relationship is with faith, right? So my question to you would be, based on your experience, how can we, or I, cultivate more of that, and not having to rely on exogenous chemicals to be able to achieve that state?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that question. So thank you for asking it. So this is what I would say. When my son passed away, his girlfriend, who he was dearly in love with, and they were planning on getting engaged very soon, was not did not have a relationship with God. And so as she moved in with us for a while, and as we sat on the deck, I helped her to establish a relationship with God, because it really is just about starting a conversation with Him and asking Him into your heart. Because God, my belief with faith is that God is all knowing, and He's the creator of everything, and He's everywhere at all times. And He truly is waiting for you to ask Him to have a relationship with Him. And the relationship is what many people call prayer, but it is about having conversations with God and asking Him for things and thanking Him for what you have in your life, and establishing that relationship where you know that you can always go to Him. And I will say that when my son died, and as I was going through the divorce and Josh dying, I don't know how people survive life without God, knowing that God is in charge, and that when things are out of my control, which we're only human, that we surrender. We surrender to Him, we allow, and we give it to God. And so when things are not going the way I want, and I don't understand why, because I did grow up in the Christian religion. I know the Bible very well. Like I said, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe Jesus is God's son. And I have a relationship with Jesus also. And it truly is about, just as if I had a relationship with a friend, I have a very similar relationship with God. And so for faith, it's believing. One of the things in my memoir is I wrote that about a month after he passed away, I was walking up north and I heard Josh say to me for the first time. First, I had a knowing that talking to Josh was like talking to God. It was the same
Mm.
thing, that they're both on the other side, but God has a relationship with all of us. He knows all of us. We're His children. Whereas Josh, because he was human and his soul is over there, he has a relationship just with people that are in his soul family or his family. And I heard Josh say to me, Mom, me talking to you is just like me texting you. I used to text you, or you would text me, and you would know I was on the other side of the phone, but I didn't always respond, and you knew I was there. And I would respond when I could respond, but it's the same kind of communication. It's about me learning how to have a communication with you, just like we used to text. Is I didn't hear you, I didn't see you, but we still had this line of communication. And it truly is the same with God. Is it's believing, it's having faith, it's giving our lives to Him, and just having conversations with Him. God wants to be in your life. Like He's waiting for you to call on Him.
How do you um, make the distinction that between an actual communication and hallucination?
A lot of people ask that, and I had that same question because after Josh passed away, I had someone come to me and say, "Hey, Josh is coming to me in dreams, and he's visiting me. He was this man was studying mediumship." And so I remember asking those same questions. Like, I always thought that was voodoo. Like, that was so anti-Christian. You can't do that. What do you mean? How do you know? How are you sure about that? And I remember after that, I had many friends and colleagues reach out to me that were in touch with the spiritual world. And they said, it's about trusting. It's about knowing. And it's like trusting that God is there. It's trusting that God wants to be your father and help you direct your life when you ask Him. So one of the things I always say is, God, direct my paths. Tell me where you want me to go with my life. And it's very similar. It's this knowing, it's this hearing. And one time I learned when I was studying mediumship is that spirit doesn't waste a thought. And the reason that you were able to access that thought when you were doing psychedelics is because this conscious mind, and I speak about this all the time as a hypnotist, the conscious mind, the ego, was in the background. So that subconscious mind, the one that can hear, that is not filtering, that's not criticizing, analyzing, and critiquing, was allowing you to put the ego aside and hear the messages that were coming through. A lot of people have got experiences when they're in that state because this one, like, can there be a God? Is there a God? I mean, I remember asking that one as a child. Is there really a God? How do you know there's a God? Like, questions, right? But when you're in that state and the ego's not hanging on there so tightly, you're able to access the messages, the subconscious mind, our soul, what our soul wants and our soul can hear. And you can learn how to do that in any state, any time without any extra psychedelics or drugs or anything.
Mm. How would you say faith has shaped and is shaping your work?
Faith is part of my everyday life. I wake up in the morning. I thank God for everything in my life. I always have something different to thank Him for. I check in and ask Him to direct my paths. I surrender every day. Since Josh died, I live every day knowing tomorrow could be different. I don't expect anything. I manifest, like, this is what I want, and I visualize. As a hypnotist, we, visualize the future. What is it that I want for my life? And then see myself there in 6 months or a year. I can manifest anything because I know that we are that powerful. And when things don't go my way, I give it up to God and say, okay, I surrender. I surrender. I'm just allowing whatever the path is that I'm supposed to take. And I'm going to do my course correction and be the best human being I can be. Because, I'll say, like, Jesus is for me, not only is he my best friend, he's my example of how to live a life. And he didn't live that long, 30 years on this earth. And he was an example of how to be kind and loving and forgiving and non judgmental. And so my faith plays a big role in that because that's who I strive to be every day.
If you're anything like me, you're probably good at starting habits, but fail to stick to them over the long term. There's probably one or two, whether that be going to the gym or taking the dog for a walk, but struggle to maintain others around career, relationship, or life goals. If you're a long-term listener of the podcast, this won't be the first time you've heard me talk about habits and leveraging public accountability. That's why I created indiip, the tool that helps you build healthy habits and stick to them. After creating your free account, you'll be given your own personal public profile link, which you can share with your friends, your family, coach, or followers. And when someone clicks that link, you'll be given a real-time notification that someone is watching your habits. I can't tell you how much of a motivator it is when you're stuck in a procrastination cycle and this little eyeball pops up with a number next to it. My productivity has gone through the roof since I started using it. It's that effective. Luckily for you, I'm giving away 100 free VIP months to my podcast listeners. There's no credit card required. Head to indiip.com/podcast. That's deep with 2 I's, indiip.com/podcast, or follow the links in the episode description below. Let's start crushing our habits today. Do you think that intuition and God are kind of two sides of the same coin?
I believe that God is God and he
Mhm.
is the all knowing, omnipotent uh, being that we can surrender our lives to, or we can say, no, thank you. I don't want you in our life. He is not going to make us do anything, nor does he. Some people say God did that to me. I don't believe that God did that to you. God's just there to support us. Intuition for me is our God given talent, our God given, not even a talent, but our God given gift that he gives us to listen to our gut, to listen to our soul, to listen to what we believe is best for us. And when it's not, then we get to say, you know what, that doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel right. That's our intuition.
Mm. It's interesting. You were talking then, and you might have noticed me smiling because I've I've been considering a move out to Bali,
Oh, I'm
and
going there next
are
month.
you? Oh,
Yes.
nice. Yeah, I've been there before, but I'm wanting to sort of treat it as a bit of a almost like a work retreat like for me to get out there and just work on some stuff and put
Mhm.
myself in a new environment. And I'm kind of like toying with this idea, and just recently I've been having issues with my car getting more and more expensive, and it's just funny. And then yesterday, basically something else went wrong with it again, and I was like, and I just sat there, and it was the word you said, surrender. And I didn't say, I didn't acknowledge God in that moment, but I was kind of just like, it was weird. I just gave up the fight and I just accepted it.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden I let go of this, like, I need to fix it. I need to fix it.
Mhm.
And then I went, okay, what could this be pointing me towards?
Mhm.
Which is,
What's the
get rid of the car. You're not going to need a car in Bali, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's interesting to, you got to be listening, haven't you?
Yes, it is about listening, absolutely. And then trusting, and then asking, what's the message? What am I to learn
Mm,
from this? Because everything in life is learning. Everything in life. It doesn't matter if you've had an easy childhood or a hard childhood or an easy adulthood or a hard adulthood, but everything, there's a learning in it. When you can see the learning in it, many times you can let go of the hardship of it. Is, what did I learn from it? Who did I become because of it? And I say that with Josh dying, is I became a very different person, and I wouldn't change it for a moment. I mean, hell, would I ever want my son to die? No.
mhm,
And would I ask for that? No. And it's made me stronger and a very different, better person. So what is that learning?
mm.
Mhm.
I love that you have that relationship with it. It's very inspiring. So let's talk about hypnosis. What is hypnosis?
Okay, let's shift gears.
Let's talk about
Hypnosis
your
is
main subject matter.
right, right. So hypnosis is a state of focus and concentration where your critical conscious mind is relaxed and your subconscious mind is in the forefront, similar to when you are on a journey.
Mhm,
You can do that by relaxing your mind. And it's literally learning how to relax your mind or being helped into that state. So, as a hypnotist, we'll help you into that state. You're in the state twice a day: when you fall asleep at night, when you wake up in the morning. It's that very relaxed state where you're kind of groggy and just waking up, the alarm goes off, and you're like, oh, I'm just so relaxed. You're not really thinking. Your subconscious mind is in the forefront. So, right now, you're in a beta state. Your brain waves look something like this. As you close your eyes and relax, you'll get into an alpha state. The theta state is the state of hypnosis or meditation. And it's the state when the conscious mind is not criticizing, analyzing, and critiquing. And so, as a hypnotist, we help you get into a very relaxed state, which you will not do if you're not comfortable with us and you feel safe. It is about developing that rapport. And when you can feel comfortable and safe with us, you allow this mind to relax, and we can work with the subconscious. The subconscious works on habits, memories, and beliefs. So we can get back there, and there's pictures back there. And so we use visualization to create it. An example of hypnosis is when you're driving to somewhere you've been many times. So let's say you're driving to work or somewhere you go all the time and you're thinking of all the things you need to do. If you finish what you need to finish, if you fed the dog and you get to your destination and you think to yourself, I'm not sure, I don't remember driving here. Did I stop at the stop sign? Have you ever done that?
yeah, yeah.
Or you turn the wrong way because your mind is somewhere else. And then you're like, oh my gosh, that's just the way I was going, right? So there's a path in our brain, which I call a blueprint or a map, and it does the driving in our life. It not only beats our heart, but it drives our life, whether we're positive or negative. It works in pictures. And so the subconscious mind is the map in the back. And then the conscious mind is, like I had said before, the ego, the one that overanalyzes, critiques, tells us my hair looks horrible today, or what is wrong with me, all of the negative thinking. But when we can quiet that one, we can work with the subconscious in using the pictures of what it is that we want for our life instead of what it is that we don't want for our life. And so, as a hypnotist, I find out what it is that you want, what are your goals, what are your dreams, what's working for you, what's not working for you. What is it you want to be, feel, or have? And then we create pictures and visualizations around that. We can let go of trauma. When it comes with athletes, it's what does it feel like when you're in the zone state? How do we bring that emotional state back? How do you have more confidence? What does it look like when you play your perfect game? How do you feel before you play? How do you want to feel? And so when we can create that blueprint, we can then help them be that athlete, because the robot theory is what the mind believes the body achieves. And it is truly incredible that when your mind has decided something, your body will follow suit.
Okay. So the subconscious mind is the map in this analogy, and you're able to shut off the ego to access the map, which will tell you the client's belief system, goals, etc. But presumably, there's also going to be some mapped out pathways in there which are problematic,
Mhm.
and you're kind of getting a full picture of that and going through the process of reorienting those
Well said.
negative, but yeah.
Well, so here's an example is we have these pathways in our brain, right? These neural pathways that were created typically before the age of 7. It's things that were said, things that were done, beliefs that we believed were stupid because we were told we were stupid so many times. We believe we have anxiety because the doctor says we have anxiety, right? So there's this little pathway that gets created, and then we tell ourselves that again, and it becomes a road and becomes a highway, and then we have more experiences, and it's this super highway that we just believe this is who we are, this is how we live. And so with hypnosis, we can put a roadblock in the old way of thinking, find out what it is that they want, and then start these new pathways, which then through working, and like I tell my athletes, is mental training is like physical training. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. Do you want to work this way? Or should we put a roadblock in it and start creating this pathway that can then become a road, a highway, and a super highway? And
Mm.
it is just like you said, the roads, the pathways of creating those as super highways. So we react and respond differently to situations in our life, and we can change our thoughts, our habits, and our behaviors.
You work a lot with athletes.
Mhm.
What are the common blockers for them, or misguided pathways?
They're typically very common. So, an elite athlete, which I work with a lot of elite athletes, Olympians, Olympic trial athletes, professional athletes, and then also collegiate and high school. And no matter what, it's about the subconscious or the conscious mind has a tendency to replay the last time you didn't do well. So let's say you're on this really great streak and you're doing really well, your confidence is high, you're playing great. And then something happens, whether it's an injury or you have a really bad game or you have a string of bad games, and now your confidence decreases. So it's about increasing the confidence, believing in themselves again, bringing back the emotional state when they played really well, their best game ever, because we always react in emotions in our life, right? We can feel sad, it's going to affect our lives, and we can feel happy. And we're able to shift our emotions. And people don't realize that we are in control of our emotions, which is why when Josh died, I said every single day, multiple times a day, I choose joy because I didn't want to feel sad. That sucks. And so my motto was, I choose joy. And I would say it all the time. I didn't really believe it, but I said it and I started to then choose that and feel that. And with athletes, it's a lot of times it's, getting rid of nerves before they compete because they're replaying what ifs instead of even ifs. And so one of the big things I work with athletes is the what if I don't make the basket? What if I don't win that boxing fight? What if I get injured again? If we can change that to even ifs and knowing that you are strong and you can get through it. So even if I don't make the basket, it's not going to ruin my whole game. I can make the next basket, right? Or even if, because we're humans, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And so the even ifs change a lot of the way we're thinking. So it's getting them into the relaxed state before they compete, anchoring a trigger word that they choose. We call it a power word that under hypnosis is anchored to their perfect game. And when they say the word, it brings back the visual blueprint of the perfect game. It's what else do we do? We create contracts of, so like, let's say I'm working with a wrestler. The wrestler would be like, I am an aggressive, fierce, unstoppable wrestler. That becomes who they are when they look in the mirror every day. They tell themselves that and they start to then embrace it and own it and embody it. And once you can embody that instead of what is wrong with me, I suck, why I'm not confident anymore, and replaying the negative, it changes the emotional state and changes the way that they play. So, very similar with most athletes. And sometimes there's some trauma we need to release, like a massive injury, just like any other client. But it is mostly about confidence, being calm, believing in themselves. And then even, right now I'm working with a golfer and he's a collegiate athlete that has always been an amazing golfer. And when I started asking the questions last year in the spring, he had a couple bad games and that started to affect the whole way he played every single round. And when we can go back to that game, change up the story, just like any story in our life, release the old one, change up the belief system in the story, we can then change from today forward the way that he reacts because his story is different.
Mm. Why do you think affirmations in particular seem to get a bit of a bad rep?
Hmm. Well, what do you mean by that? Give me a little bit more about a bad rap.
I think sometimes I hear a lot of I tend to hear like both sides sometimes in this because I interview a lot of coaches and in the performance world, and you'll get some people who are like all in on the affirmations and stuff, and then other people who literally use it as a counter and say, "You're not going to achieve this by shouting affirmations in the mirror." Like you hear that a lot,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, what is it? Is there something there, or is it just to be contrarian, or is there like people doing a bad job out there, not following the correct protocol and therefore not getting the results, and then it doesn't work?
Right. I would say it's all subjective. Here's what I know after being a hypnotherapist for 20 years is that affirmations, when said and believed, will change your thought system. And I tell every one of my clients is if we reprogram your mind and you now believe that you are the first string basketball player on the team because we worked on that, and you walk out of here and you tell yourself something different, your mind is going to grab onto the last thought you had. So when we pay attention to, oh, their inner mean guy girls again, like let's say inner mean guy is all of a sudden speaking to you saying, you'll never be first string. If you can notice it, take a deep breath, shift it, and say, no, I actually can be first string and I am first string. And then you embrace it, that's what's going to change it. And so doing this for 20 years, when we can write affirmations, it is about getting the athlete to get to a state of, I believe it now. So in the beginning, as we write them, they'll say, I can't read these. I don't believe it. And I'll say, I don't care if you believe it. Say it anyways, because this is just a pathway. And our
Mm,
job as we work together is to make it a super highway. So when we can take it, see it, and believe it, that's when it becomes true. If you just look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am a billionaire tomorrow, and you don't believe that's possible, it's not going to help you. But if
mm,
you look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am a billionaire in 10 years, and that is your goal, I guarantee you're going to do what it takes to reach that. If you truly, truly believe it, because it's the law of attraction. Whatever we truly believe and manifest and know we can make happen if we put our mind to it, the more we believe it, the closer it comes to us. And then we take the action steps to get there. But if you're just going to say something and not believe it, that's where an affirmation isn't going to help you.
Mm. I suppose, do the affirmations end up being like a bit of a stress test for you in terms of like where they're at with, like, so if someone turned around and said, I've been saying this billionaire thing in the mirror for like a year, still don't believe it. There's clearly something to unpack there.
Yes, definitely. And then we can unpack that. Is it a stretchy but attainable goal? Is one of the first questions I ask, even when I'm working with athletes or any client, really.
Mm,
Stretchy but attainable means if I had the best day or the best game or the best season and I really stretched myself, I could get it. And yet it's still attainable. It has to be believable in our own mind. And so I will have maybe a swimmer say, I want to get a 1.40 in my 50 breaststroke or whatever it is. And I'll ask them, is that stretchy but attainable? Explain what that means. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, well, I could probably do a little better than that. Right? Because we're afraid to set stretchy goals. We might not make it, we might fail. And so if the goal is stretchy but attainable, possible, that is when the affirmation is most effective.
mm. Do you tend to advise clients to have just the one goal?
No, we write about 20 affirmations per client.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's simple things like when I step on the court, I get in the zone. When I dribble with aggression and pass the ball quickly. Whatever it is that is holding them back, whatever it is that's not working for them right now, we'll reverse it into the positive present tense of what they do want.
Mm.
And so that is a series of questions that I will ask that will lead us to those 20 affirmations. It's what is it they want to be, feel, and have when we're done working together. And that creates then really their blueprint of the athlete that they want to be.
Yeah, so you're using the overall goal and then finding the habits and uh, behaviors attributed to the goal. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Have you got any favorite success stories, like real turnarounds and what was the process like?
Oh, well, I can think of one right now, and she was a collegiate wrestler at a D1 school. So in the United States here, or swimmer. In the United States here, athletes that go to D1 schools, many of them get full scholarships. So their entire school room and board is paid for. And then their swimming is like a job to them. It's part of their school career. And she was a senior. I had seen her already a few times. And so she knew all the mental training tips and tools and techniques that I had taught. She used them. But she called me up and she said, I need a session. And I said, okay. And she said, I don't know what is wrong with me. I know that I have the potential to win conference. This is my senior year. I know I'm good enough. And yet there's something in my mind questioning me. And I feel like I'm swimming slow. And it's not something mentally is not clicking with me. And I just need a tweak. And so we literally had a session. We found out what it was she was saying, how she was feeling. We found out what is she wanted to feel, what she wanted to achieve. We created that picture of her winning conference, which was a long shot because it's very competitive in the D1 arena. And she literally won conference. And she said, I don't know, it just worked. And I tell all my clients that I don't know how it works. It's not scientifically proven. And the power of your mind is so incredible that it works. It just works. And so she was so excited because she won conference. And then, yeah, and so that was really cool. And gosh, I don't know. I work with a boxer in Las Vegas that keeps winning his matches because we just have sessions to tweak him every time he has a big fight. What else? I worked with an Olympian wrestler, and yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how it really is mindset. So I use a lot of the tools and techniques that psychologists use, but that hypnosis piece, solidifies the picture, solidifies the journey and the map so that then they can really become that in their mind. And then that's what they end up doing.
Fantastic. And what about your retreats and what goes on at those?
The retreat is for parents that have lost children. And I just had my first one, my beta one, and I did market it to men and women, to couples or partners, or men and just women, but just women showed up and it was perfect. So at the retreats, well, first we let go of any grief, any anger. Well, grief's always going to be there, right? Because what I know is a parent that has lost a children is that we had this massive wound when they died, like massive wound, but yet the wound starts to heal and it becomes a scar. And when we can release the negative feelings, the guilt around it, the regret, they don't want us to feel that way. They want us to be happy. And so it is releasing the emotions, which is what I do with my clients anyway. So we release the emotions they're hanging on to. And then I help them connect. I help them feel the energy of their child, help them to see the signs, to know the signs, to tap into their heart center and that intuition piece. What else? And then what does it look like to live a life of joy again, where the sadness isn't holding you back and affecting your life? Because we all want to live happy, joyful, peaceful. And yet, when we're hanging on to something so traumatic, it's about releasing the trauma of it. And like I said, what did you learn from it? And then just knowing that God is there for them and that their child is also not gone. They're not physically there. And yes, is it different? And would I love to hug my son tomorrow? Absolutely. And he's still here. He's just not physical anymore. So it's just the knowing and then the knowing how to connect. So
And
we
if
do.
someone's listening now and they like the sound of that, but they're, let's say, the other side of the world, and they're going through this child bereavement at the moment, what type of things could they do to almost do like their own at home retreat for a day or something like that? What are some things and steps that they could go through?
Oh gosh. I guess when I think about that, I would think about my own journey. And I remember I lost it for a while. I would scream and cry and holler at God, how can you do this to me? You have to carry me. I don't know how I'm going to live through it. I mean, there were those times when I really wasn't sure that I wanted to live through it. It's painful. And yet, like I said before, it was about choosing joy. It was about giving it up to God. It was about asking Jesus to carry me, that footprint. I don't know if you know that footprint poem where there's only Jesus says that he is going to walk along with you in your life. And yet when and the author of the poem says, why is it that in the hardest times of my life, there's only one set of footprints on the beach? And Jesus says, that's when I carried you. And
Hmm.
that is what I let him do. And I just said, carry me. Like, I can't do this alone. It's so hard and painful. And so I would say, give it to God. Um, choose joy. And then there's a lot of grief groups. There's grief therapy groups. Hypnosis is incredibly effective for grief. I work with a lot of people for grief. So finding a good hypnotist, hypnotherapist, one that's referred, one that works with grief would be very beneficial. And then noticing signs. I love the book Signs by Laura Lynn something. If you just look at Signs by Laura Lynn, you'll find the book. That was one of the first books I read where I learned how to notice what the signs might be that Josh would be sending me. So that was super helpful in my life.
Laura Lynn Jackson, is that it?
Thank you. Yes, Laura Lynn Jackson. Great book. And so, yeah, if you want to start saying, because there are little like excerpts in there about different parents and what the sign was that they saw from their child. And so it gives you lots of examples and different ways that they will like send us signs and communicate to us. So I would say that would be super helpful. And
Cool.
then
Thank
connect with
you.
other parents that have lost children, and that's what the retreats are about also, is you get to connect with other parents that know what it feels like, because there's no describing it.
What about other use cases for hypnosis? I'm thinking, um, you used to hear about it a lot. I feel like the 90s was all about smoking hypnosis to give up smoking. I just didn't remember that. And or fear of flying or um alcohol. Like, are there any other use cases that it's effective for?
Oh, absolutely. I work with smokers to become ex-smokers. I work with fear of flying, weight loss, all of that, right? Because everything is just the power of our mind, and it's
Mm,
shifting and getting them to a space of I'm ready, right? Because anytime we're ready to do something, we're ready to like draw that line in the sand and we can be committed to it. Hypnosis helps with willpower. With the smoker, it's getting to the space of you've believed for, because most smokers have smoked for decades. You believe you're a smoker. You believe this cigarette is your toxic old friend, that you can't live without it, that it does all these things for you. What does it do for you? It calms me. It helps me when I'm bored. It helps me when I'm stressed, right? All of that. And then changing that to what does it look like when you're a non-smoker? What's different in your life? Disconnecting wires of when you smoke. And so because it's habit, right? So smoking is not only the nicotine, it's the back
hmm,
and forth, the hand to mouth, it's the deep breath, relaxes you. So teaching them breathing. And then,
mhm,
even for a while, like what is it that you can have in your mouth? It's an oral thing. It's something in your mouth. It gives you something to
mhm,
do. When they recognize that and we can change up those habits, then you don't need that cigarette anymore, because habits can change. Yes, it takes a little while, but it's using the power of your mind to do it. And with flying, it's releasing the trauma of it. What happened? The first question is, when did you start becoming afraid of flying? Well, I was on the airplane and it dipped and it scared me, and okay, so let's change up that story. Let's make that a different story. Or my mom was always afraid of flying and so she had anxiety around it. Well, okay, let's change up that story. So with fear of flying, it's changing it, it's writing affirmations, and then it's creating the visualization of what does it look like when you get on the plane next? And it's a beautiful experience. So it does
mm.
work. It absolutely works.
That's cool. I used to be a bad flyer, and two things that I did just like instinctively, but I ended up one was if I when there's turbulence, I would prepare myself for it and say when it's turbulent, rather than going, I don't want it to be turbulent, and when it eventually happens, like my stomach go and stuff, I would go when it's turbulent. That's the like a sign that everything is normal,
Uh-huh.
and actually it's kind of fun. Like if you're in the back of a 4x4 on
Yes.
safari,
Yes.
that would be fun, wouldn't it? Um,
And
yeah,
that's
no,
right, we call that a pattern interrupt. It's
pattern
changing
interrupt.
up the
Okay.
thought, right? Pattern interrupt is changing up the thought pattern of it, and when we can change the thought pattern, we change the feeling around it, because now it's fun,
Mm,
it's not stressful, and it changes the experience. Really,
yeah.
the feelings in your body that you get when you're nervous or scared are the same feelings physically you get when you're excited.
Hmm.
Interesting,
Yeah,
right?
that's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. What about alcohol? Any
Reducing alcohol
success?
or in
Well,
success.
I tell you what, at moderating alcohol specifically,
Mhm.
have you managed to help anyone do that?
Yes, I have worked with that also.
Mm,
Yeah, absolutely. And that is about most people when they want to stop drinking so much, they will say to themselves, I need to stop drinking so much. I want to stop drinking so much. Um, why can't I stop drinking so much? And part of then that blueprint program is I am satisfied with one drink a week, or I can go out with my friends and stop at two drinks. whatever it is that works for them. And I don't know, but they create it, right? And then what does that look like? Writing all of those affirmations. What is the blueprint of what it is that you want to be, feel, or have? And then working through future scenarios. Okay, you see yourself at a bar. What are you doing? And making sure that I'm guiding them to what is it they want to do, right? So they don't want to see themselves at the bar drunk. They want to see
Mm,
themselves at the bar saying, "Okay, I've had two, I'm great," or "I had my drink, I'm fine. I'll go to just tonic and water or tonic and lime." And and so it really is about, again, getting there. And it's also finding, some people that drink a lot, they're all or nothing people, and they get to decide if it's, I want it all or nothing, or I just want to do it in moderation, what feels easier to you. And they'll tell you, they'll be like, "You know what? I am all or nothing. I think I should just stop drinking." And then we get
mm,
to work on that. So, yeah. And with hypnosis, it's really, the hypnotist guides you to create and be what you want to be. So I don't know what you want, but I can help you in the back of your mind figure out what it is that you want, and then see that, visualize it, and shift into it. And again, a lot of it is related to emotions, past experiences, traumas.
mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I I gave up alcohol. Well, last time I drank was around 2.5 years ago, and I went through a bit of a journey with that. And I definitely think the reason I'm curious around it is because they, I guess it's that subconscious thing we're talking about where, like, for me, it'd be like, 'cause after a few drinks, it would be like prefrontal goes off, and
Uh-huh.
then we're just in like go mode, can never switch it off. But I do think I'm not going to experiment with finding out, but I feel like now actually, I feel like my brain has been totally reprogrammed
Hmm.
because I've had like a couple of occasions when I've had an alcohol-free beer or even a mocktail that was done mistakenly with alcohol,
Mm.
and I've been like totally disgusted by the taste,
Mm.
which I found really fascinating.
I like that.
It's
Yeah.
happened a couple of times now where literally like spitting it back in the thing, like, whoa, what is that?
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, just fascinating how, yeah, how the brain works and those connections. And but also as well, like, I think if I was speaking about this maybe, a few years back, part of me would probably be saying this, trying to negotiate myself into having another drink, right?
Hmm.
Like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I'll be fine." But now
Hmm.
I'm literally like, I don't even want it.
Right.
It's just gone.
Yes. So you have a very strong mind. You've associated alcohol with negative things, negative feelings,
Mm,
negative behaviors. And we do that with hypnosis also, is we call it aversion. And you've done it on your own, which is amazing, but we can take that alcohol and make it disgusting and poisonous and, full of maggots or something really disgusting where it melts your stomach, and do that with the visualizations where you then, if you were to have alcohol, you'd be like spitting it back in the cup. And you pretty much did that on your own, which is beautiful because you wanted to avoid it.
yeah, no,
Mhm.
it's interesting. I suppose I'm a little bit congratulatory. That wasn't my aim for it though. Um, I know we need to wrap up shortly. Before we finish, what are what are your 5 non-negotiable daily habits?
Okay, let's see. Non-negotiable. Move my body, get some kind of exercise in, whether it's at the gym or walking with the dog. Um, Connect with God. Uh, Non-negotiable. I would like to say connect with Josh, but there's days that I don't because I'm in this, what we call the 3D world, right? This world of
Yeah.
humanity where we don't sit and take the space to be in that place. So, 5 of
Hey,
them.
maybe you only need 2. Maybe a two's fine.
Yeah,
You
two's
move your
fine.
body and connect with God. I mean,
Right? I would say take care of my body, right? So healthy
yeah.
eating, always making sure that I have, healthy food around. So yeah, and be grateful, be thankful for everything I have and this amazing life that is really shorter than we realize, and to make the best of it every day.
And tapping into this, the connecting with God piece again. If someone's listening, they're curious, they're kind of wanting to develop this habit, they're maybe a bit kind of afraid in terms of like starting like a micro practice. What could that look like?
I would say pick up the Bible. Pick up, some people it's the Kabbalah. Some people it's something that you can learn about God and how amazing He is and how gracious He is, and start that relationship. But even more than anything, like I said before, just start talking to Him. I know it feels odd. I know it feels uncomfortable, but He's there. He's listening. So I would say if you want to start a relationship with God, start talking to Him. Find a place of worship where others are doing it so it doesn't feel so foreign. And just ask if you can have a relationship with Him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anything on the horizon that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, I have another retreat for parents that have lost children in early 2026. So early next year. I haven't set the exact date yet, but anyone that's interested can get a hold of me and I will keep them updated. And if you're an athlete and you want confidence and peak performance, give me a call. I definitely am still working on that. I work at a doctor's office and see clients for other things. I do also virtual sessions. So anyone that would want to work with me in grief or anxiety or smoking or any of those things we spoke about, I do virtual sessions, and I have in person here in Wisconsin. What else am I working on? I'm getting involved in a new business venture. So that's kind of coming up. But yeah, a lot of exciting things in my life. And I get to go to Australia and Bali soon to visit some friends.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Karen. This has been lovely. I've really enjoyed learning your story. I appreciate you sharing your journey and everything that you've been through and your wisdom. Yeah, and I will drop all your links, etc., in the show notes. I'd encourage people to check out your stuff.
Thank you for having me. We were all over the board. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Hey guys, it's me. Just a quick one before you get going. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, you can check out links to my guests via the episode description below. And a reminder to claim your free VIP pass month at Indiip. Go to indiip.com/podcast. That's indiip.com/podcast. If you're looking to improve your life and build habits, I really think you're going to love this tool. All links are in the episode description. Thanks for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.